Today we will be breaking down what happens in the comics in order to celebrate the finale of Season 3 and one of the best fights in the entire series being animated, that being of course Invincible vs Conquest. Conquest is a man who lusts for battle and embraces the viltrum instincts to the T, while Mark throughout the show, and especially this season, has been dealing with the struggle of making the hard choices for the greater good. He's someone who wants to save everyone, but it's clear after his interactions with Cecil and Angstrom, he has to be ready to make the hard choices. After dealing with the damage from the Invincible War, he would almost break down before Conquest would tell him to stand ready for his arrival. Mark at this point is pretty enraged and doesn't need to have this happen right now, so he uses it as a way to let loose. Conquest is delighted by his response, leading into the two then clashing. This would result in a shockwave that would be sent across the city, and after that we would cut to Mark immediately getting slammed after the clash. As you can tell, things are not off to a great start for Mark, but it's okay. Conquest makes it clear that he's different from Anissa and Omni Man, who want to conquer Earth in the name of the Empire. There really isn't any ulterior motive aside from the fact that he just likes to take over planets and likes to commit genocide. This man Conquest fights just because he likes fighting, and so Mark is put in a situation where he cannot hold back, as this guy will destroy everything that he has left. And at this point, we get to see Mark starting to put a little bit more effort into his attacks and no longer holding back. He would be throwing consecutive uppercuts and up circles like he's playing Marvel vs Capcom until they're out in space. Conquest tries the same move from earlier, but Mark sees this through, but Conquest is still unfazed by his hits and Mark gets smacked in the face. He then gets dropped to the ground, gets slammed like he was Darkstar, and then kicked around. Mind you, by this point Oliver is already seeing his brother in trouble and tries to help, but these two are just moving way too fast for him to do even anything. Mark tries to tell Conquest to stop, but bro does not know he is having the time of his life right now. Cecil by this point is trying to get the strongest heroes he can along with the reanimen ready, but there really isn't enough time as Conquest is an active threat. Meaning Cecil now has to bet on the one guy who he's been pretty much saying "I've told you so" the entire season to. Meanwhile, Eve would recover from her injuries and would finally wake up, and the first thing she'd do is go out to the field to go help Mark. Oh, and also spill about his secret identity, but who cares about that? I love that Eve is trying to protect her man and everything, mad respect, but bro, what is she gonna do? This is not powerplex, bro. You gotta stay home. You just got out of the hospital. You're about to be put back in there. But I can't blame her for going out there because this man Conquest the entire time is just obliterating Mark. He's literally getting the Loki treatment from the first Avengers movie. Oliver would get a clean hit in before Mark would try to follow up after saving him, but he would proceed to fail, and this leads into him getting grabbed by the head and flown through the area Omni Man style. But this time, instead of a train full of people, it's a battleship. Eve would arrive on the scene and note that this is not Omni Man, to which Conquest would note that that's bad news for her. Mark would try to get Eve out of the way, allowing Conquest to break one of his legs with one strike. Eve would try to hold Conquest off, but Conquest would clap it away and straight up donut her through the chest. Mark, seeing Eve like this, would begin to break down, and while this happens, Conquest would thank Mark. He's never been to a planet that never just gave him the faith of a one-on-one, and there was always some type of casualty. For the first time in a while, Conquest is just letting loose, and this is what he does best. He doesn't have to hear, "Oh, please spare me," or "Oh, please don't destroy the planet." And he really doesn't care for the reason as to why that is. He's just glad that he's able to get a good fight in. Leading into Mark saying how he can see the future, and Conquest won't live till tomorrow. The two would then clash again with Mark destroying Conquest's metal arm, but in the process he would also injure his. However, despite his injuries, he is now putting in the power needed to kill Conquest. And we can see that Mark is doing everything he can to put this guy down, as he literally bites this dude's flesh off, showing that he's no longer having that mental blockage. This is not the same Mark who couldn't face Omni Man, or the same one who got bullied by the damn Mahler twins. And while these two are fighting, we see Eve enter a similar state as Mark, no longer mentally holding back and entering some kind of awakening. She would heal from her injuries and burn the skin off of Conquest's upper body, and somehow this dude is still standing? Bro, just die already! He even takes a hit from Invincible and crushes his hand. However, this did not stop Invincible, as he would keep Conquest pinned and would proceed to skull bash him repeatedly until his face was caved in, imitating what his father did to him back in season 1 and what he did to Angstrom back in season 2. Mark by this point is no longer hesitant with killing and knows if he needs to do the greater good, he can't be the same Invincible from before. This really does set up some of the best arcs within the series, so please go check those out now that season 3 is over. And I can't wait to see what a Mark with killing intent looks like for the future of Invincible.